So today's video is going to be a lot different than what I usually do. Um, my channel is eclectic. It's everything you could think of is on here. There's a bunch of different videos of me gaming, talking, informational. Those seem to be the best ones, the informational ones. Most views are the ones that are informational. Imagine that. Let's start this video off with I'm not looking for pity or sympathy, anything of that nature. It's more of a if nothing else, a rant. It's probably the best way I can think of describing it. Maybe I can help somebody else going through my experiences with y'all. And if nothing else, maybe when you see the first signs of what happened to me, maybe you can go get help before I did. That made no sense, but you know what I mean. You can get help like I didn't. First time I ever had a panic attack, I was 19 years old. Oh, I guess I need to tell you who I am. If you're new here, my name is Michael. Go by a lot of different other things, but Mike seems to be the best. I suffer from agoraphobia, anxiety, extreme anxiety, and depression. Depression comes and goes like everything else. Anxiety is constant for me. The agoraphobia is pretty much constant. There's differences in all three of them. There's differences in mine and yours. It's just the way it's going to be. No two people's the same. No people's issues are the same. I've taken different SSRIs from citalopram to Lexapro, Wellbutrin, different benzos, everything prescribed, of course. But regardless of all that, it helps, but it kind of just numbs it down, which is what 90% of everybody says is all it does is numb it down. Makes it a little less unbearable. For the last 358 days, 358, I've not left my house. And when I say I've not left my house, I mean I haven't went farther than 35 feet away from the front door or back door. That is attributed to the anxiety and the agoraphobia. It's pretty rough. I have 3 children. 1 I keep with me at all times. 2 that live in Tennessee. And I can't even go see them. Again, I'm not looking for pity, sympathy. These are the cards that was dealt to me. I'm just trying to play the hand as best as possible. Yeah, I mean that's it in a nutshell right there. 358 days I haven't went to the grocery store. Even before then, I didn't go to the grocery store very often. Agoraphobia, if you don't know, is a fear of open places. You can break it down into different things. The main term is a fear of open places. It could be anything from thinking about what's beyond the beyond down to getting away from a safe zone. Your circle of trust. That's what we'll call it. It's been a rough year. This isn't the first time I've been basically imprisoned in my house. I've had it happen a couple different times for not as long periods. It really differs each time I do it. Nothing really seems to onset it. Like I don't see it coming. It just happens. And I do nothing to get better, I guess would be the best way to describe all of that. I don't have insurance. I can't really go to the doctor for stuff like this. It's not what you would deem an emergency. So the ER is kind of out of the question. I have to see specialists, and they cost money that I don't have. I do have an amazing woman who works 5 days a week, sometimes more if they ask. And that's how we get by. That's how we've got by for the last year. Before that, I was working. I was damn near close to management at the dollar store. But that's, it's a different time now, obviously. But we've made it hand to mouth, check to check, every 2 weeks. Pay the bills, keep the lights on, keep food in the house, keep my son happy. That's basically it. Not really much room for extra stuff, which is fine as long as you're making it. You're making it. I would like to be better off. I would like to have a job and her have a job, and then we just have everything we wanted. Woo! It'd be fun. But maybe one day. That's what I'm hoping. Throughout this, if I seem like I've given up, then it's basically because I've been in here for a year. It's not really giving up per se, but I've been in here for a year, so I've kind of gotten used to it. Don't feel like it's going to get better. If you have any kind of anxiety, you understand the overwhelming feeling of doom. Well, with agoraphobia, not leaving and not pushing yourself to get out, it gets a little bit worse. It doesn't get better. It doesn't get easier. Um, it don't get easier at all. I should have took some notes down for this. This would have been so much better if I'd have like wrote out a whole presentation and then, gave it to y'all. Would have been great. I'm just going off the top of my head and talking about my last year's experiences. So okay, we'll go from the beginning then. I was working 7 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day, sometimes less, just depending on how they needed me. At the dollar store, I went from just being nobody that stocked some stuff to being a key holder, which is kind of like assistant manager, I guess is what you'd look at in that kind of corporation. It's nothing great. I'm a glorified cashier is what I was. But I was going from that to assistant manager, then to manager is the way it was going to go. Didn't get that far. I worked there for about a year. Before that, I did have another bout with this, and I can't really get out. And that's what really stops me from doing anything. I'm a smart person. I do not have any of the credentials I need for online work, which really, really blows. So if you're contemplating not going through the rest of it, go through the rest of it. Get your GED, get your high school diploma, whatever you need, because you're gonna need them credentials if some stuff ever happens and you're stuck at home. Nobody will hire you because you have no credentials. You have nothing. I'm a smart person, but I can't show nobody that over the phone. And they won't even call you back unless you got these things. So, that sucks. I want to go get my GED. Can't do that at the moment. Yeah, that's fun. The online classes cost like $900, so can't afford that one. Unforeseen events constantly pop up where the extra money we do have saved has to go to that, which, sucks, but that's life. Trying to think of some other stuff, tell you other than that. But anyway, so the last week before I went on this whole 358-day hiatus here, I was on my way to work and I had a panic attack. I hadn't drove myself in for forever anyway, but I do drive. Well, I did drive at the time with people with me, just somebody that made me feel safe. If something was to happen, I could say, "Hey, you take the wheel. Let's change spots." It just made me feel confident and confident enough to actually get out and drive. Um, but this day was kind of like that. You gotta remember the dollar store is only 3.5, 4 minutes away from my house anyway. That's why I chose that location. But on the way to work that day, I had to pull over because I was having a panic attack. And a lot of times I can just pull over and put my foot on the ground and ground myself, which I've learned from therapy, obviously. And a lot of times that'll help. And it helped that day. I went to work. The next day I went to work and I hurt myself at work. And they gave me 3 or 4 days off in a row. And now this is a major crucial part of it. Anybody that's ever had agoraphobia, anxiety, depression mixed together, when you don't leave the house, you don't want to leave the house. And when you have a mixture of what I've got, for me, when that happens and you go to leave the house, your other things flare up. So with the depression and such, not leaving the house made it where I didn't want to leave the house. And yeah, so I didn't leave the house. I tried to go back to work. When I came back in, I made it about a quarter of the way and called and said I couldn't make it. And the manager at the time was real nice about it, and she understood my situation, my everything that was going on with me. And she said, "Well, you know what? You tried. Don't feel bad about it. Try again tomorrow." And I've repeatedly done that for about 2 weeks. Tried every day. Didn't make it no farther. Let her know that, and basically she asked me if I wanted to just resign, and that way she could get some help in there for herself. And I mean, she was polite about it. And I resigned, of course. And since then I've been here. I've tried to leave a couple times. it just, I don't know, doesn't go the way you want it to, or the way you plan it to when you want it to. So I've been here again 358 days. It's been a tough time. A lot of soul searching, a lot of problems. Um, Self worth is an issue when it comes down to something like this. For me, I don't know about for everybody else. I don't sleep good at night anyway. I watch my son Monday through Friday. The woman gets him on the weekends, of course. But I watch him Monday through Friday. I get up with him in the middle of the night, which I don't sleep good anyway, is where I was going with that. So it's not a big deal. But I've been doing that for the last year. I've been a stay-at-home dad. Uh, it's got its moments, My son and my relationship has been, it's great. With my other two children, the baby mama for both of them had different choices in life where she took them to different states and such, and where I was in life at the time, I could have contested it. Possibility we both lose and the kids get taken. Didn't want that, so I just let her take them with her, and that's something I regret. I wish I would have done more for that, but I didn't get to see them. Is where I was going with this story. I do have ADHD somewhere in there too, I'm sure. Um, I didn't get to see them growing up as much. My daughter is 12. She'll be 13 this year. My son is 5. He'll be 6. No, he just turned 6. No, he turned 6 in May. Sorry, I'm a little off on months. And they're getting big. I probably got between both of them a year and a half of their lives. I've actually got to see them. My daughter loves me. She adores me. She wants to be a YouTuber like I am, which hopefully by the time she gets to a point where she needs a job, she has something other than YouTube. It doesn't pay the bills, not for channels like mine anyway. But but I missed a lot of their life growing up. And with my son, I haven't missed a day. And he turned 2 in March, and I haven't missed a day of his life. And that's been a blessing. That has. You got to try to find the little things along with all these bad things. And this is going to be a longer video, just so everybody knows. I'm going to rant this all out. I don't expect to get a lot of views on it. I don't expect a lot of people to keep watching it all the way through. If you do, I do appreciate it. If it helps you whatsoever, just to hear somebody else talk about their problems, then I'm glad I could help somebody. It's been one of the toughest times for me this time. I'm 33 years old. I've probably lived more days than I've got left to live. And I hadn't done a lot. My biggest accomplishments are my children. I've made some decent friends who I love. Most of my friends are family. It's the way it goes now. Most of my family ain't even friends. But so when you think about it and you get down and you do nothing all day but take care of a child and kind of straighten the house up and cook dinner for a year, you really start doubting who you are and what you're doing with your life. I don't really have a lot of dreams, goals, or ambitions right now because I can't fathom to think if I can, because I don't want to let myself down anymore. And that's probably one of the biggest issues I have. If I do cry on this video, you judge me, that's fine. I got it. It's cool. This is some real deep stuff for me that I don't talk to a lot of people about. But when you really start thinking about your self-worth, when it comes to situations like this, it's a problem. I don't make any money. I don't do a lot of things around the house, and for me to be labeled a man, that's it's tough for me because I come from a time where the man was the breadwinner. I take care of the family, and still come home and be a dad. And that's probably one of the roughest things for me. And it's got to be rough on the lady. I know she's put up with a lot of my stuff for the last year, and a lot of it's not intended to go towards her the way it does, but it's really rough when you suffer from all this. Everything builds up, and you don't really understand how bad it is until you're sitting in the shoes and in the seat and you can't do anything, and you're like a guest at a theater that you can't leave, watching the same movie every day over and over and over, and it gets so repetitive. And that's where the depression kicks in. A lot of my depression stems from the fact that I do feel worthless. Uh, I don't feel like I'm worth a grain of salt to myself. I know my son loves me, and I know we have a great relationship and a great bond, and we have that because of this. And so, I can't be completely mad. I feel like we would have it anyway, but I've never been more hands-on with my children than I am right now. And again, I only have one of them with me, but every day, it's me that makes his bottles, me that makes his food, me that changes his butt, me that teaches him. Everything he's absorbing right now comes from what I do. And, hopefully one day I will be better, and I won't have to go through all this stuff, and I won't have to show them, because, you lead by example. And I don't want to be an example of this, of failure, of quitting, of not trying. Because that's not what I'm about. I've done this for 10 years. No, I'm sorry, 13 years. I'm 33. I always think I'm 30. Since I was 20 years old, I've dealt with my anxiety issues, the depression. I've always felt alone. Um, that's why I try to make people laugh, because even though I have problems, if I can make somebody else laugh, they don't think about theirs, which makes me not think about mine. And for 13 years, I've fought this basically by myself. I've had good people along the way, good friends, women. They've stuck around for some of it. But you know how hard it is to look at your lady and say, I'd love to take you out on a date, but I can't. And some women are okay with that, some are not. The one I'm with now, she says she's okay with it. It's because she loves me. I know she wants to go out and do things and go to places and eat, watch a movie. And I personally, I don't think anybody deserves to be with somebody like me, because to me, I am what I am, and with all my issues and such, it's rough on her. I know it's got to be, and I'd like to get better to help her out with stuff too, because these are some of the toughest times for me, to wake up and look at yourself in the mirror and just not be okay with who you are, to despise what you are. I'm trying really hard not to not to break down on y'all on camera. It doesn't look good. But yeah, this is one of the toughest things I've ever went through with this, and like I said, it's hard for every party that's involved with me, and I don't expect anybody to stay involved with me for long because of it, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. Excuse me for a second. So yeah, if you have issues of any kind, you're not alone. That's one of my biggest things, is I feel so alone, and I know I'm not. I know countless people go through this daily. It just, you feel so alone when it's you. It's really tough. It's really hard to keep going forward, to keep trying to find something to brighten your day up, to make you okay with being who you are, especially when you despise who you are and not really who you are. Like, I know I'm a good person, I have a great heart, but it's not the deep down that's really showing through anymore. These aren't the colors that I'm looking for. Failure and giving up's not always been a strong suit of mine. One of my biggest things growing up is I never understood why people committed suicide. I thought it was so childish and so weak. And if life was easy, there would be a button, and there's not. Life's not easy. It is hard. It will knock you down constantly, and getting the willpower and just having the ability to stand up is so hard. And I never understood why people committed suicide, and now I do. I understand completely. it is weak still to me. It is childish to me to leave everything behind because you feel like you're nothing. But I do understand it. I understand the thought pattern that goes into it. It's not like you just wake up one day and you're like, boom, I'm going to do it today. You sit and you dwell on this for hours upon hours about how everybody's life would be better if they didn't have to take care of you. And it's really tough not it's really tough not to end everything. And the only reason I keep going so hard is because I do have children, and one of them needs me daily. I do have a good lady who works to support everything that we are. I don't have a lot of family that I love or believe in or keep around me for reasons that don't need to be known in this video, and that's fine. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of people that I can tell this stuff to. And so that's one of the main reasons I came to, YouTube to do this for y'all and for myself. Excuse me, snotting everywhere. Is again, you're not alone. You're not by yourself. You are by yourself fighting this, but there's millions of people that are doing the same thing every day. And it gets better, it gets worse. And it's tough. And sticking in it is so hard. But I've been here before, it's not been as bad as this before, like I've said. But I have been here before, and I've made it through this. I've weathered the storm. And it is greener on the other side. That's probably the biggest point to take with this. Just getting to that other side sometimes take a lot more time than what you think it's going to. A year not leaving this house, man. It's tore me up internally, mentally, physically. I've gained close to 100 pounds. I don't care about anything no more. I don't shave. Every once in a while I trim it. But, you get complacency that sets in. And you just don't care. That's one of the biggest things, is just not caring about what's going on. And then when you do start caring about it, it just makes you sad. And you get depressed. And it's a never-ending cycle, And it makes it so hard to stay positive. That's why I play video games, is to escape this reality, to go to another one. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this video up. It's more emotional than I had planned to get on this video. Again, I can't stress enough, if you're going through something and you don't know what it is and you don't understand it, go to the doctor. They get paid to understand this stuff. They're probably not going to help you as much as you think, but they might. If nothing else, maybe they can diagnose you so you can do your own research and try to find your own solutions. I dealt with it for 5.5 years just by myself, and I fought it, panic attacks daily, going to sleep, waking up, choking, feeling like I couldn't breathe, heart racing constantly, feeling like I'm having a heart attack, feel like I'm going to pass out. Just yesterday, I woke up, and for no reason, just woke up, walked outside, and I seen like blinders here and here, and I just started thinking I was going to pass out, and I had a really bad panic attack yesterday. And it's been a while since I've had a real bad one. I have anxiety all day long, but the panic attacks they suck. So, if you need help, go get it. Don't be ashamed of it. It's life. It's hard. It's probably one of the hardest things we'll ever do. But again, I'm sorry this video took so long, and if you did watch all the way to the end, I do appreciate it, and I hope that it helps you in some way or another. I'll give you a good one though to leave to end this whole sadness. So for a man I'll give you a good story to end everything. So for a man, or as me as a man, um, I have bowel movements in the morning, and that's, it's one of the best things in the world for somebody like me. You get up, and that's the only thing you got to look forward to is just getting everything out from the day before. And I'm in there, and I'm done. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just playing on the phone because that's what they're made for. And I start having a panic attack while I'm using the bathroom. And you want to talk about the worst feeling ever? Try to explain to yourself that you're not going to die on the toilet. Tell me they're not going to find me with my pants at my ankles dead on the crapper. That's probably one of the roughest times I think I've had with anxiety in a couple weeks. I think that was like last week or something. But yeah, that's one of the weirdest, awkwardest things to ever tell yourself is you're not going to die while you're on the crapper, okay? Just stay focused. You can finish this up and get out of that crapper before it happens. Alright? Like every other video, I hope y'all enjoyed.